Welcome to the Self-Reliant Living Show, where we talk all about a self-reliant lifestyle to save money, live greener, eat healthier, and be prepared for anything so you can take care of the ones you love in good times and bad. I'm your host, Jennifer Osech, a homeschooling mom of 3 boys. I'm the author of the Preparedness Planner series, and my husband and I are the lead teachers of Self-Reliant School, a website dedicated to giving you the skills and confidence to take care of yourself and your community. Be sure to stop by and pick up your free videos from inside Self-Reliant School that will get you started growing, cooking, and preserving your own food today. You can pick these up at selfreliantschool.com/free. Now, on with the show. So, welcome to the Self-Reliant Living Show. Today we have an interview with Emma Kelly. And as you guys know from previous episodes, I always like to read the bio of our guests or my guests so that I don't get anything wrong and I don't leave anything out, because these people are just wonderful and the things they've done, I just don't want to leave anything out. So here we go. Emma Kelly is the owner of Minnie and Moon, a brand of carefully curated products for a vibrant and creative home and garden. Okay, she was born in San Francisco, and she was raised by an artistic homemaker and an entrepreneur father. She now lives in Philadelphia with her husband and 2 teenage sons. Her experience growing up in a family business selling quality European tools and her love for home centered on good food and simple living greatly influenced the products you'll find in her company. Okay. So before I bring Emma on, I just want to say really quick that be sure and listen through to the end because we have a special announcement. So I just want to give you a little bit of a teaser there. Welcome, Emma.
Hi, Jennifer. It's so nice to be with you.
It's so wonderful to have you here. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your passion for your high quality goods? I just am really curious about how that got started and what spurred you on there.
Well, I think it's my dad's business, was really focused on good quality tools. And so I learned about quality there and just, nice things growing up. And I just like things that work. And so a lot of the company and the products that I carry are because I got frustrated with dishcloths that didn't dry, or dish towels that didn't dry, and dishcloths that didn't clean up, and, gardening tools that didn't really function. So I really like my products to work and last. And I don't like to buy a lot of things that I end up throwing away. So I try to carry things that are really nice quality and will be enjoyed by gardeners and cooks and people who like to be creative in their homes.
And things that last.
Things that last.
That you only, because everybody thinks, well, if I spend money up front to get something that's quality, it's so expensive, but saving up for that and then later on when it doesn't break, you're actually saving money, even though it doesn't seem like it up front, but in the long run, you actually save money. So I just always like to point that out because I don't think people realize it because they don't think long term.
I think that that's true, but I think one of the reasons that it can be hard, and something I've struggled with when I'm trying to buy a product that I don't know the industry, is that you never know. Are you paying for quality? Are you paying for packaging or branding or marketing? So that's one thing I try to be really clear about. If I have something that's a little bit more expensive, that there's a reason, because of the workmanship, because of where it's crafted, because it's how it's crafted, the materials used. So I try to be really mindful of, that there's really quality behind that price if there is something that is on the higher end, because I think that's one of the reasons that it's hard to make that choice sometimes, because it's not always clear that you're paying for quality in the product.
Yes.
Try to make sure that everything we carry, stands up. And if it's proof, it's probably anyone proof. So.
Okay, so what made you decide to start your own business? I mean, because this is something that a lot of people aspire to, and we at Self-Reliant School, we are just always advising that it's a great thing to have a second stream of income. And then if that blossoms into a business, that's great. But what made you decide to start your business?
Well, it's funny. I always wanted to have my own business. I think that's something I always knew I wanted. But I had really good job security. I had a job that I loved, and suddenly it was in limbo, and I wasn't quite sure where it was going. And the very week that that started to happen, this company in England contacted me about being their distributor, and they were products that I really loved. I loved the people who made them. I, loved everything about it, and it just seemed like the perfect time for my dream to become a reality, and to do my own thing. So I sort of just jumped right into it. It wasn't really something I had planned all that well. It was just the opportunity came up, and it was something that I felt I could really get behind. So that's how it emerged very quickly.
Yeah, so it's I always think of it as, God sends us the opportunity, and He sends us the people we need at the time that we need them. So I like to look at it that way. So can you tell us your mission and what makes you stand out from the rest? I mean, what makes you a special brand? I think we sort of touched on that a minute ago, but can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely that, everything that I sell, I use, I believe in, I've tried in my own home. I think about the product from where it's made, how it's made, to what's going to happen to it when it's run its course. So, a lot of natural materials, using things that are going to ultimately biodegrade and not in 1,000 years. Really thinking about, trying to support other small businesses in how I work. I, buy from USA made manufacturers whenever I can. But really it's the quality, it's the, knowing that things will work and that they're made to function and that they will function, and that we've tried them out pretty extensively to make sure that they work. And, so I think that's, something that's different about what we do.
Yeah, I love that you were even thinking about the end of the life of the product, and that it will eventually just become part of the earth again, rather than just being in a landfill somewhere trying to be part of the earth, right? And so I love that about you, and the way that you use a lot of the products that you sell. And so people might just be coming in and thinking, well, what are you talking about? What products are you talking about? So can you tell us a little bit about your gardening experience and how you incorporate that into your life, and how you teach gardening to your kids? Because I know that's a big part of what you do. So could you just tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a passionate gardener. I am not by any stretch a master gardener or, terribly knowledgeable gardener. I like to garden, and it's probably centered on a love of good, fresh food. So, wanting to have it as fresh as possible and be able to go out to the backyard and pick it. And, as far as, instilling that in the boys, when they were young, they got to have their own little plot to grow things on their own and, grow their own produce. But I think that, just even exposing them to having a garden, and now I have teenage boys, that they know the difference between a really, good fresh tomato or apple or, something that's been sitting around, a warehouse for a long time. So I think, they both will, comment and have from an early age, like, oh, this has flavor. This apple has flavor. This tomato has flavor. This, whatever it is. I can't say at this age as teenagers that they're super involved in the whole gardening process, but they do. They harvest, food for dinner and that sort of thing. I always show them when I'm saving seeds, sort of this is what we did, and this is what happens, and this is, we're going to plant these again, and, sort of share it along the way. But it's nice to see them really have grown to appreciate the difference in, fresh produce versus not.
I love that. You're just like setting the bar high so that, when they do come across something that's lower quality or not good tasting, they just know right away. I love that. That is
it's a mixed blessing having food snobs as sons, but
it's not necessarily a bad thing. If it comes out of the garden, that is just fine. I can take that any day. So we talked about having a second stream of income. And so what would you say are the basic steps that you took to start your own business? and pursue something that you enjoy doing. You talked a little bit about how you were raised and all of that, but how could you explain it so that maybe some of our viewers could take actionable steps to do something that they're passionate about?
Gosh, that's a really excellent question. In my case, because I did just sort of dive into it, it wasn't a really carefully planned process. It might have been nice to have a little extra time to sort of plan how I was going to go about it. But it just sort of, I think in my case, I just did it. And then a little bit, it sort of worked itself out on its own. So, just sometimes maybe that's all it takes. Just making.
I think you're right. It's just the decision to go ahead and do it and learn along the way. And then the other thing I always tell people is just don't quit. That those are the two keys really to being successful, is starting and don't quit, and improving, you don't want to stay stagnant, but right. Just, looking for ways to improve. But everybody thinks that the mystery of success is just, super long and complicated, but I really honestly think it's probably those three things. It's just deciding to start, don't quit, and always look for ways to improve. And then, some of us take a little longer than others, but we, eventually get there, I think, if we stick to those. I don't know.
I think absolutely. And I think, part of it is that there's always, I feel like my background had me pretty well suited to, start a business, but it doesn't matter. There's just so much that you're learning and expanding. And as you do it, you're learning along the way. So I think that, it's a little bit just being open to the lessons that, come to you, and, listening to them. And and I did have a friend of mine did say that to me. I was frustrated, when I was first starting, and not when I first started, but, a little bit in. And she said, don't quit before the payoff comes. Don't quit before, it's not so hard.
Yeah.
And that was really good advice.
Yeah. Well, so how do you pick out the tools? Because we were talking about they have to be quality. They have to last a long time. So how do you pick something that, carries your brand name, that you're okay with putting your name on?
It's a lot of times it's because it's something that I want to carry. It's something that, like I said before, having something around the house that doesn't work and trying to find something that does. Sometimes it's because customers ask me for things, and so I search out the best, the best version of it that I can. It's kind of hard because I'm always, balancing between, it's a little bit of me that's a little bit I'm not a super consumer. I don't like to buy a whole lot of things, and sort of balancing that with having a business that sells things. So I try to make them things that I would want to buy, that I would feel, happy to have in my home, that, like I say, will give joy for a good long time and not have to be replaced. So there's several things I look at. How well does it function? What is the quality? Is it beautiful? Who makes it? Where is it made? What is it made of? And I have a big long checklist, that I, sort of look at, and does this meet most of these, criteria, when I'm choosing an item. So, and get the best version of the product that I can find.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a big movement, I think, for people going back to living more simply with fewer things. And so the things that you do have, you want to have all those qualities that you just mentioned. And so I think that's, that's very timely, and it's just I feel like it's a better way to live. So can you tell us, just a little bit about the business, right? So what are a few products that, you didn't think would do well, but they really did. They surprised you?
Well, I think one of the items was, it was actually really funny. It's recently discontinued, but it was a pot brush, and it was my best-selling item in the first year, and it wasn't something I'm not a meticulous gardener, so I'm not scrubbing my flower pots, but that one sold like crazy. People loved it. And another one I did have it just right here for you, was just a simple natural nail brush made in the USA. And it was just, people have a really hard time finding a really nice hand scrub brush. So, whether you're gardening or cooking or whatever it is. But this is a very popular item with our customers. And I was a little surprised, actually, at how popular it is.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to find things like, because the things that you find at like a box store or whatever, the bristles come out and it's a mess. And so I understand that. That's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the name of your company, Minnie and Moon. Where did that come from?
Those are the names of my grandmothers. So my grandmother, Minnie, her family had hardware stores in Napa Valley, California. So her father and grandfather actually owned the hardware store on Main Street in Napa, and they supplied the agricultural supplies to the vineyards of Napa Valley in California. And so she and her husband moved to San Francisco, started a hardware store, which my dad took over, and then started his own business. But that's really the line where I learned about quality tools and, sort of the nuts and bolts of things. And then my grandmother, Moon, she was the descendant of Danish homesteaders in California, and just a very practical, resourceful, they grew their own food. She was a cook. She was always canning, making jams, and just a very, like I say, resourceful, practical person. And so that's sort of the homemaking side of the business, and sort of the beautiful practical side of things. And I'd like to think I don't have anything that they wouldn't be proud to have me carry. So that's
oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Wow. Okay, so that I'm going to think of that like every time I say that name, that the name of your company now, because it's like just like a tribute to them. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your work with school gardens?
Yeah, that's something that several of our tools, like we have this little dibber here, and this is this little tool for planting, bulbs and seeds and onions, garlic, that sort of thing. And it's really popular, particularly with school gardens in England. So this item, and then the paper potter, which I think you might have one of these.
I do. I can hold it up.
Yeah.
And
so this one,
Bill's showing a picture of it. So okay.
Oh, wonderful. So you take strips of recycled newspaper and you make seed pots, biodegradable seed pots, and never have to buy seed pots again. And these are made in England. They're made from sustainably harvested oak. And so I have a program where school gardens can place a fairly small order and get a nice discount to help stock their school garden with some of the supplies, because we do have a lot of nice things for gardening with kids. So a lot of nice products for them to sort of stock at a discount, because I know that a lot of the school garden programs are not all that well funded, and so
and I love it because it goes back to setting the bar high when you're teaching children, and so when they go out and start their own gardens, they're not going to want the flimsy plastic whatever. They know there's something better and something that doesn't destroy the earth, and so that's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah, there's definitely something about starting learning, with nice tools, and it's hard to go back. It's hard to go back from that.
Okay, so we've been talking a little bit about the different tools that you have, but can you tell us, what are the different kinds? I mean, can you kind of give us the gamut there?
Yeah, we have a lot. So we have, tools for gardening. So, the paper potter and the dibber. And then things like this. This is the string on a stand, which is, jute twine, and it's this can be used for tying your. It has a blade in the top, by the way, and this is again made in England from sustainably harvested oak. And this is kind of a little bit. We have the gardeny stuff, and then we have the stuff that sort of goes in between. So this can be used for tying your plants, but it's also beautiful with like craft paper and tying up gifts or tying up herbs or, things around the house too. So it's a really handy little thing. And then we have a lot of things for basically food storage and preservation. So we have, we have an herb dryer. So once if you're done with your gardening and you're wanting to preserve your harvest, we have an herb dryer here that has 3 layers of unbleached cotton sheets. Wow. And so you can, space-saving situation for drying your herbs. And then we have, things like cloth bags. Let's see, I have one here. These are made in the USA from unbleached cotton. And these are for these are for storing greens. They keep greens fresh 2 to 3 times longer. So once you've harvested your greens or kale, chard, that kind of thing, without putting them in plastic, you have these reusable, bags, for putting them in. And then we have, things like dishcloths and dish towels. These are USA-made dishcloths that are really soft, long-lasting. They absorb really well. They don't just move things around when you're wiping the counters. They can be used for dishes, cleaning, mopping floors, all kinds of things. And I really like things that are versatile as well. We have aprons. We have all kinds of things. So it's really, kitchen, garden, and we look forward to having more products for throughout the home that, fit the quality and, functionality that we're looking for.
Well, so now are you located in stores? Are you online only? How is it that you get your products to market, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, I do sell online on our website. And then I also, I sell to stores around the country, and we're sort of, still getting that program going, but we do have several good ones, all over the place. But it's sort of a smattering around the country. It's not a blanket of stores quite yet. But we do sell to stores, from coast to coast. So it's been great. So those are our 2 avenues, and we do a lot of shows too.
A lot of craft shows and just getting your name out there shows.
And farmers markets.
Oh yeah, farmers markets. That's great.
People who like good food really tend to like our stuff. I'm sorry, you're coming on a walk with me while I get a charger.
Oh no, that's okay. Rhonda's coming in. She says better late than never. And yes, Rhonda, and hello. And if you are just joining us, or if you are in the video here, then just in a couple minutes, I'm gonna give you a special announcement, so just hold tight just a second, but I will have a couple more questions for Emma because I just love talking about this stuff.
Wonderful.
What is your best gardening tip?
My best gardening tip, it's kind of my same tip for starting a business. I'm so sorry for going off the rails here.
Yeah,
would be just to do it. I mean, I think that, I'm a good example. I mean, especially as I've been starting this business, it's, I'm traveling, a little more than maybe I'd like. I'm really busy. But it's amazing how my garden comes through for me. I mean, I'll be gone. I come home and there's still produce there. It's still, I'll go out and be able to harvest food for dinner, and even though it's kind of neglected. So
everything just wants to grow, that wants to flourish and have life, and I love that too. It's and it is okay if your garden has weeds in it. It's okay. Still do it, right? It doesn't have to be perfect.
And, don't worry about having the time or the space, even if it's just a couple pots, and get your perennials in early. That's the only other thing. Okay. I'm glad I have the asparagus going. And
yeah. So, so if you're just a beginning gardener, right, you've never tried to do this, it's intimidating, whatever the reasons, what are some tools that you would really recommend for somebody who's just starting out?
Well, I mean, I would say that our dipper is number one, and it's graduated in inches, and it's just a really nice way. So basically what you do is you just pop holes in the ground for your seeds or your bulbs, and it's just a really nice planting tool. So it's a very British tool. Here a lot of times people will kind of dig with a trowel or something, but this is a very efficient, nice way, simple way to plant that I think we could start to adopt a little bit more over on this side of the pond. Yeah. So that's definitely one. And the couple things, and the paper potter, which I know we already talked about, but just especially if you're starting from seeds, one of the best things I think about the paper potter is that you never run out of seed pods. So
I love it. I just love it.
So, I'll get some seeds, and then I don't have to think like, what am I going to do about seed pods? It's like, I have newspaper, I'm good.
Okay, so those are 2. So give me 3 more, because I know that as well. On my mind, right, Christmas is just around the corner. So like the top 5. So we named 2. So give me like 3 more of like the best you have.
Okay, so this is our little mini pruning set that I absolutely adore. And this is not even my branded product, but I sell them because I've been using my set for 7 years and it's just held up so beautifully.
Wow.
And it's not terribly expensive and it's just a really lovely little set. So there's one that has a tapered edge, and that's for deadheading or harvesting herbs, that kind of thing. And then there's this one with the curved blade. And this is, for, small pruning tasks. I actually keep this in my kitchen drawer. So when I need to run around and harvest something or, arrange flowers or prune something, I have those handy. And then I showed you the herb dryer before, which is a really nice Christmas gift. And it's, this is definitely more in the gift price range, but that's a nice one. And the string on a stand, which I showed you earlier. We also have cute little things like this is a British-made, garden statue, which was designed actually as a fence post protector. So it has that little square bottom on it, and they have these. You can have these little. We have 10 different birds, little silhouettes around the garden. So that's just, even if you're not sure, if it's a gift season and you're not quite sure what someone would love, this is just a nice little touch for anyone's garden. So those are. Did I get you 5 or not quite?
I think so. I love it though. I mean, it's just I could shop all day on your website because it's beautiful. It's just fun to look at too. I mean, just even if you're window shopping. Okay, so that's the next question. So it's been wonderful to have you here. Where can people find out more about you, and can they follow you on social media? Do you have Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all of that?
Yeah, I am on all of them, and it's just Minnie and Moon. It's MINNIEANDMOON. So we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, which I don't use all that much, Facebook, and then our website. But I think you have a link in the show notes today too, going to our website.
I do. Yes, I do. Thank you so much, Emma, for joining us. It's just been so wonderful to talk to you. I love gardening. I love to have things that last, and I love that they're just pretty on top of that.
Well, thanks so much for having me today. It's been really fun.
Okay, so everybody who has waited for my special announcement here, that is, I have a coupon code for Minnie and Moon. So the coupon code is SRS10, and that is to save 10% on your order. And you can go to selfreliantschool.com/moon, and that is how you can be taken straight to a Minnie and Moon, and then you can use that coupon code. And like I said, Christmas is top of mind, at least it is for me. And so I think that getting something that will last for years and years and years, giving that as a gift is just wonderful. And it's just wonderful to talk to Emma about how she started her business, and how it was just one of those things that, like I said, just do it. If there's something that you're passionate about and you think would benefit others, just do it. And then you can learn along the way. And I just I believe in that, because that's kind of how I did things. I just did it and learned along the way, and I love the journey. I love the people. I love talking to you guys. And so anyway, that is something that I was really thrilled to talk to Emma about. And then, of course, like I said, looking at all her pretty things is like going into a shop and looking at all the beautiful things. Okay, so I'm going to introduce myself one more time. If you're just coming in the middle of this broadcast, my name is Jennifer Osuch, and you can find me at selfreliantschool.com. I have been talking to Emma Kelly, and she is from Minnie and Moon, and it was so wonderful to have her on the show today. Remember, being self-reliant is not about being selfish. It's not about just you. It's about taking care of yourself so you can take care of the ones that you love. Take care until we talk again. I'm so glad you could join me today. Here's what to do next. Head over to selfreliantlife.tv to pick up the show notes for this episode and to watch replays of older episodes. To go directly to the show notes for this episode, go to selfreliantlife.tv, and then without a space, type a / and then the number of today's episode. You can watch this show live every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, live on Facebook or the Periscope app. Don't forget to stop by selfreliantschool.com/free to get your free Self-Reliant School videos that will help you get started living a self-reliant life. Also, if you're listening to this show as a podcast and you've liked what you've heard today, please subscribe through Stitcher, iTunes, or your favorite podcast app. If you're on a mobile device, just search for the Self-Reliant Living Show. If you're on a laptop or desktop, just go to selfreliantlife.tv/iTunes. And while you're there, please leave a review. I love to hear from you. You leaving feedback makes it easier for others that are interested in living a self-reliant life to find my podcast. Take care until we talk again.